evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, 5 people dead, more than 30 injured after Pakistan deliberately targets civilians along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir. Why has this escalated now and how should India respond? Also tonight, Mamata Banerjee's government has said no to an NIA probe into the blast in Burdwan as the BJP goes on the offensive, saying that there must be an NIA investigation. Is this ugly politics over terror? But first tonight, in one of the worst ceasefire violations by Pakistan, 5 villagers were killed and 34 injured today in heavy mortar shelling and firing from across the international border and line of control in Jammu and Poonch sectors. The firing began late last night and went on till early this morning. Defence Minister Arun Jaitley, who in fact came out of hospital today, has condemned these violations, saying that the armed forces are fully ready to respond. On the other hand, Pakistan says that 4 of its civilians were killed in Indian firing and they've lodged a diplomatic protest.
2-year-old Tanya is unable to comprehend what has happened. They were celebrating her birthday last night when the shelling started. A kilometer away at Kotagaon, villagers weren't lucky. 5 are dead and nearly 30 injured. In the heavy firing by Pakistan Rangers along the international border in the Jammu district. The 11th ceasefire violation since the 1st of October. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah at the cremation of those killed, accusing Pakistan of diverting attention from its internal problems.
Instead of our neighbors, Pakistan, sending us something worthwhile for Eid, this is the Eid greeting that they have sent us, which is, I think, to my mind as a Muslim, a crying shame. There is no right time for shelling, but there are definitely worse times, and this is by far one of the worst. ये शायद अब पाकिस्तान की घबराहट है कि उनका इस इशू को उठाने से उनको कोई फायदा नहीं मिला.
Over the last 2 months, India claims cross-border firing from Pakistan has almost doubled as compared to last year. Back in New Delhi, Defence Minister Arun Jaitley was released from the hospital after a long illness and warned Pakistan.
Pakistan must realize that the kind of environment it is generating between the two countries is certainly not going to help.
While the Union Home Minister rushed the Director General of BSF,
पाकिस्तान को अब सीज फायर वायलेशन बंद करना चाहिए और इस हकीकत को समझना चाहिए कि भारत में अब जमाना बदल चुका है.
Sources tell NDTV that the BSF along the international border and the Indian Army on the line of control have been responding back in equal measure, often inflicting heavy damages on the other side. Things have become so bad that the mandatory exchange of sweets on the day of Eid was suspended too. Villagers along the border are bracing themselves for yet another uncertain and perhaps hostile night. With camera person Darshan Kumar and Zafar Iqbal in Jammu, in New Delhi, Shruti Ranjan Sen for NDTV.
Well, worrying developments there in the last few days at the international border and the line of control. What are India's options? What should India do? Why is this escalating at this time and at a time when the two countries aren't even talking to each other? What are the options left as far as India is concerned? Former diplomat Vivek Karchu joins us on the program tonight. Radha Kumar, former interlocutor for Jammu and Kashmir, here in the studio with us. Also with us this evening, Admiral Javed Iqbal, a well-known defence analyst from Lahore. And our political panel this evening, Mr. Manishankar Iyer of the Congress Party and Siddharth Nath Singh, spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Karchu, to you first, why do you think that this is happening now? We heard the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir saying that he thinks it appears it could be the frustration of the Pakistani government that they were not able to get international attention on Kashmir, or perhaps it's a diversionary tactic from their own internal problems. What do you think the reason is, Mr. Karchu?
No, first of all, I think this is truly a serious incident. I cannot recollect any time when a village in the interior and 2 kilometers in the interior is substantial was so attacked through long-range shelling. Therefore, the questions that the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir has raised are entirely valid. I think above everything else, the Pakistan Army, and these incidents I attribute to the Army, has been testing Mr. Modi. And this is part of that process of testing him It's a part of the probes that they are doing. It began right on the eve of his swearing in when they attacked the consulate in Herat. I think there was another round when the LOC and the IB in J&K was fairly alive in the month of August. Fortunately, that concluded when the DGMOs spoke to each other. So this process of testing, I'm afraid, I foresee will continue for a while. There is also an element of frustration because Mr. Modi's forays in the international arena have been good, and the Pakistani army is on the back foot, and armies, whenever they get into trouble inside the country, seek to turn the attention of the country abroad.
Okay,
so it's all told. I think it's really a mixture of all these factors.
Radha Kumar, Vivek Karju says this is them testing Mr. Modi. So what testing? How are they? What are they looking for in terms of a response from India? Do they want us to escalate things in terms of firing back? What do they want, or force us into talks?
Well, I think that probably the answer is for Vivek to give, not for me, to that particular question. My only issue over here is that already you've had a doubling of incidents. You had such a serious problem that you agreed on a code of conduct and resolution in August. Now, once again, you have ceasefire violations. I believe that Pakistan has also lodged some strong protests that civilians have been killed on that side. You know, in this day and age, for civilians to be targeted simply has to be considered to be beyond the pale in both countries and by both armies. And that DGMO talks business cannot happen only when there is some terrible event. It has to happen to prevent such events from taking place. That's the first point. The second point is that if we expect more of this to happen and more civilian areas to be targeted, then we need to start a process of evacuation. That has to surely, the safety of civilians surely has to be a paramount consideration. And we can't lurch from event to event when it comes to people's lives.
I think that's a very valid point that you make, and I want to ask Admiral Javed Iqbal that why, sir, do you think that this is escalated to a level where now civilians are being targeted? You've had 5 civilians killed on the Indian side. Pakistan says 4 civilians were killed on their side. It is absolutely tragic that civilians should be deliberately targeted in any way.
I totally agree with you, particularly on this Eid day. I think it was very unfortunate that the Indian shells should kill our children. I think it is the two countries should realize that such things will not add anything to the friendship. Now I don't understand why, since Modi has come.
Well,
please let me complete
have
it.
Killed our people as well, sir. Let's just let's just focus on not.
I don't know. You can say.
Sure.
You
but
can say
there
your
are
people, but I am saying.
Side.
Look, you see, I am talking about the people who have died this morning on the very Eid day, which is a great event for our people. And I think since Mr. Modi has come, India is trying to flex the muscles, trying to impress us. And I think this is we know Indian army, we know Indian people, we know India. It is not first time that two countries are bordering each other. So I fail to understand to whom you are trying to impress by escalating border violation, by firing unprovoked firing on civilians, killing children, killing old people. I don't understand that.
But Admiral Iqbal, of course, the Pakistani government has its version of what has happened. Your Foreign Office has released a statement claiming that 4 Pakistani civilians were killed today, and I understand that that is what the Pakistani government is saying today. But the Indian government has maintained that 5 civilians have been killed on this side. That is a fact. We cannot make that up. It has happened. We've seen the kind of damage that has happened on these border villages today, and after a very long time, we're seeing civilians being directly targeted. So I would suggest that you extend your condemnation to your own forces as well. This shouldn't be happening.
No, I totally agree with you. I think the civilians who are forced to live on the border should not be punished like that. I think I condemn the civilians' death on both sides. I totally agree with you. But what has been the cause? Since Modi has come, these incidents are on the increase. So what are you trying to give us some message?
Well, Siddharth Singh, it's a very controversial statement the Pakistani panelist makes tonight, that it is because Mr. Modi is Prime Minister and the BJP is trying to provoke this. I'm sure you would want to counter that, because there are, of course, two sides to every story, but the Indian side has very strongly maintained that the firing has come from the other side first.
Well, Nidhi, we all must realize that in India, the media is free, unlike in Pakistan. The army doesn't control the civilian government in India like they do in Pakistan. And we do not certainly, do propaganda when on the basis of falsehood. Therefore, let me just correct our good friend. I hate to call him a good friend anymore, but anyway, to be nice on your channel, my good friend there, that this civilian killing is not helping, and over 100 incidents of LOC violation has already taken. To blame Mr. Modi is the most absurd thing that he can come across with, because it was Mr. Modi who invited all the SAARC leaders to have a new beginning at his swearing in. There were certain red lines which were drawn, and that was accepted. Mr. Nawaz Sharif, when he comes, he doesn't go ahead and meets the separatists. You crossed the certain red lines which were drawn. Maybe they were not existing in the past, but they are existing now. And you crossed, so you had to face the consequences of calling off the Foreign Secretary dialogue.